Hello and welcome to the Empowered, Sensitive and Creative podcast. My name is Rim. I'm an artist, a certified life coach and an NLP practitioner, and the creator of the Empowered, Sensitive and Creative retreats. Passionate about celebrating joy and beauty in the everyday, especially when things are falling apart, I'm insatiably curious about human nature, and I look into the world with reverence, awe, and a sense of wonder. Tune in for stories exploring healing through creativity, art, embracing sensitivity, and navigating the subconscious mind. I'll talk about the struggles that highly sensitive and creative people face, and share my experiences, insights, and favorite tools along the way. I'm here to empower you to turn what we often deem to be a curse into your biggest gift. I believe that the more we create together, the more we heal the world. So let's dive in. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Empowered, Sensitive and Creative podcast. I'm so happy and grateful for you tuning in. Hello, it's episode 41 and I'm back after a few weeks away from the podcast. And today I want to talk about this simple shift that really helps to shift our energy from feeling disempowered to feeling empowered. And it's something that really, for me personally, as I've been through so many transformations and have started so many projects, and I moved through I moved to different countries, different homes. I had different jobs. I feel like I have several relationships. I feel like I've already had a lot of maybe I'm a cat and maybe I didn't have my 7 lives, but I already have 5 of those already. And why is that important is because this shift is, like when you start something all over, it can be scary and it can be quite tempting to think that that you're being punished. But actually it's not at all, as I'm gonna talk about now. But why I want to share this now, it came to my mind a lot this week, it's because I kind of disappeared from social media, social interactions, everything over the past few weeks. I think I had a mini burnout and I could sense that my direction was not necessarily the way that I really wanted it to be. I thought that's what I wanted to be, but then the reality didn't make me feel as I thought I would. So then it was a sign for me to reevaluate and dig deeper within and kind of reflect on what I want to do and where I want to go. And another big thing, it's not a big thing, but it felt quite heavy initially, is I have a website, right? And I spent a lot of time building it. I've updated several times since I built it. And I don't know how it came on my radar, but I discovered that the platform where I was hosting my website had some politics, they had some point of views that are really opposite to mine. I really, when I discovered who they are, where they come from, and I'm not judging people according to where they come from, but in this current political situation, international politics, I felt really, really, really bad when I found out who they are and what they are doing and what they are promoting from a humanitarian point of view. I was like, oh my God, I'm disgusting. I don't want to pay. I don't want to contribute to their behavior. I'm totally against it. It's totally against my values and my vision of the world. So I decided to stop to close down my website. I haven't closed it down because I need to rebuild the new website, but I decided to no longer work with them, to choose another website provider. Okay, sorry for my throat. I was a bit dehydrated. So it felt a bit like a bummer because I've spent so much time working on my website already. And, I mean, as much as I enjoyed doing it, I have other things to do. It can be quite time consuming. So initially, my first, after thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I don't want, there's no way I'm staying on that platform. There's no way I'm giving money to that cause, to these people, to this company. No way I'm going to move on. I was elated. I knew it was the right decision, so I was fine. But then after a bit, it kind of dawned on me the amount of work I needed to do, I needed to go through to build my next website. And I felt quite a bit frustrated, I have other things to do and I have to do I have to do my website again. And I felt like it was a punishment because I made the wrong choice. I went with the wrong website providers and now I was being punished by not thinking things through before. But that's ridiculous because when I chose the website provider, I thought about it and I remember very well I chose the one I chose because I was in China at that time and because of internet censorship. I couldn't, a lot of them were blocked. So if I wanted to use it without a VPN, if I wanted to use a platform without a VPN, I had to find one that could work. And that platform was one of, I think it was the only one at that time, at least, that is easy to use. So I chose it in, it was how can I say, it was not a mindless decision. And yet 2 years later, I'm punishing myself, thinking I didn't make the right choice. And it got me thinking how often people tend to do that. We tend to do that to ourselves. We tend to blame ourselves when we make a perceived wrong decision. Even though when we made that decision, we did the best we could. We made a decision with the information that we had. Of course, as time goes by and events, things happen and maybe we learn more, we come across another article or something, some piece of information. Of course, it makes sense that we would know more and then our decision might need to change. But it doesn't mean that when we took it, it was bad. And therefore, there's no need to punish ourselves. And also, for me, building the website is it sounds a bit frustrating because there is some technological stuff going in that is not necessarily the thing I enjoy the most, or it's not the easiest for me to learn. It's not something that naturally comes to me. I have to make some efforts to understand. I can do it, after a while, but I can do it, but somehow I have this thought or this idea, this belief in my mind that, I'm not good with technology, I'm not good with internet or with coding or whatever. Although nowadays we don't need to code, and I don't code at all in my website. I don't need to. But somehow I have this belief. And which is funny because every time I build my website, because I've had many websites, initially I'm I'm kind of dragging my foot down, I have to do this. Also, it's a lot of work, before it looks like something that looks nice. You can't have an immediate result. But actually, it's a very good exercise. I think it's great to build your website because it's an opportunity to really reflect on who you are, what you want to do, and what do you want to share with others. It's like a mirror, an image of our authenticity. And so building the website is like a great exercise of reflecting on, for me at least, reflection of my authenticity and an opportunity to shed yet another layer of conditioning of, I should do that, you should do this. If you want to have a business online, you should do this and that. If you want to have a business, a website that converts, you need to do this and that and this and that. All of these people who think that they're the experts. And actually, it's not true because we've been through that, from whether it's a website, whether it's something else, a job, a work, a friendship, a relationship, workout routine, whatever. We know that not every rules, so-called rules, are working for us. And so for the website, it's the same. And for me, like this time, I decided to really take my time with it. And instead of telling myself, I have to, I decided to tell myself, no, I get to do my website again. I get to reflect deeper into my inner world, into my work, into what I want it to be. I get to go deeper and really think about how I want to share my talents, my skills, my experience. I get to explore deeper on how I can help my community and what I want to do, and all of that, and what vibe I want my website to be, and so on. And I realized that even though I liked the previous one, like I did it, I think I really did it the best I could do it back then, in the space of one. I don't remember exactly when I finished it. I think I finished it last, like 1 year, 2 years, almost, no, 1 year and a half ago. Sorry. And then I updated it again this winter, and like every 3-6 months I update it a little bit. But basically, what I mean is, like, in that lapse of time, I've changed a lot. I've been going through really deep shifts, and it kind of makes sense that it would show as well, it would reflect in my website. So actually, it's a great opportunity now to redo my website. And now I never thought about the platform, the website platform, what they meant, who they were. I was just thinking about the basic stuff, like the cost and the ease of use, and whether I can easily access it online and that. But I never thought about where they're from, who are they, what do they believe in, like what is their value, who are they as humans. And now I'm like, wow, yes, it is so important. Like when I buy my groceries, for example, I try to be mindful about who I buy from. I like to buy organic vegetables if I can, and I like to buy products and stuff from local businesses and small businesses, to encourage them, because I think it's really important. So it's like one of my values. Yet for my website, I didn't think about this. So now I felt like it's a great opportunity for me to reflect on that, and really I'm getting to choose how I use my money on my website. And actually, it's like, I think the value, like, what I mean is, like, when you create a business, when you create some like work that comes from your heart, that is really aligned with your soul, it's not only what you put out there that matters, it's also the vehicle, right? It's like when we like eco-friendly packaging, it's the same. The website is a kind of packaging. It's a kind of a book or a window on what you do. So, in fact, I think it really matters. So I was really grateful for this opportunity to reflect on that. I still have, according to my plan, I expect it to be finished early July or end of July. But this time I'm really taking my time and really singing in it. I'm doing it only a few days a week, and I'm super happy when the day comes. I'm like, oh, today it's website day. I get to work on the image of my business. I get to work on the physical expression of what I want to do. It's an opportunity to put all of my ideas together and clarify, clarify what I want, eliminate what I don't really want, what doesn't really belong to me anymore, and focus on what I really want. And I have an opportunity to make it more mine. So I would encourage you to think of an occasion in your life currently where you think, you have to, and it feels like drudgery and homework and a punishment. to how can you see it as how I get to, and how you can make it about exploring, experimenting, and becoming more you, being more you, unleashing your creative potential. And how you can release the pressure to do things fast and to get immediate results. Because if it doesn't happen right away, or even if it doesn't happen the way we want it to, it doesn't mean we're a failure, not talented, doing it wrong. Often when we think that we have to, when we have this belief that it's out of our control, that we must conform to this rule, it's we kind of want to do it to get rid of it. It's like, oh, I have to, so okay, I'm gonna do it quickly, and maybe we outsource our inner wisdom because we think we don't necessarily know how to do. Like, we don't take the time to dig deep and really listen to our intuition and listen to our true self and do something that's really aligned with what we want. Because we really, when we say, like, I think when we say I have to, we're not the master or the mistress of our behavior. It's like, you know what I mean? And in that case, it's difficult to really be you, to be yourself. You're like trying to conform. You're kind of performing for somebody else who is not here, who doesn't exist. But this perceived image of somebody else's expectation, or society's expectation, maybe even a part of yourself expectation, but the part of you who probably your inner critic, or the one who doesn't know, but like the part of you who tried to conform to society's conditioning, to society's expectation in order to survive. Another example comes to mind, yoga. Initially, it felt like a chore. It's not like yoga felt like a chore. I really enjoyed exploring it, and as usual, when I explore something new, I can, not always, but I can very well be excited about it and be very enthusiastic and motivated and doing it. Like, I have no problem committing to it for a while. But of course, after a while, I don't want to do it anymore. It gets boring. And for me, like, I've been trying to do more yoga for a long time, and I did for a while, and then I didn't. And then I went back to it, and I didn't. And as soon as I put this idea in my mind that I have to do it, I have to do yoga, I have to do some yoga, I have to, because it's healthy, because everyone says I've got to do a daily physical activity, blah, blah, blah. And now, and yoga is really good for everything. And since I have knee problems, yoga is great, and blah, 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 blah. And then, the more I say that to myself, the less I want to do it. My inner child rebels a lot. I'm like, no, screw it. I don't want to. And then it's like the little child who's been told what to do and they don't want to. It's like almost like I'm crossing my hand, I'm crossing my arm and tapping my feet on the floor. Like, no, I will not do it. And that's kind of useless, because then I'm not doing it, and then I feel guilty. Like, later on, I feel guilty and ashamed of myself. Then the inner dialogue, the inner critic says, "Oh, Reem, you're really bad. I can't count on you. You know you should be doing yoga. You should have a yoga workout today, but you didn't do it. Why can't you stick to a schedule? Why can't you do what you say you're gonna do?" These kind of things. And that's so not useful, because the more I say that to myself, the more crappy I feel. And then it's a vicious circle. And it doesn't motivate me to do more yoga. Maybe initially I'm like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to do it. And I do it. But then the day after I rebel again because I don't want to. But when I shift, I'm really grateful that I've been slowing down a lot and not spending so much time online, and also really rearranging my schedule and my way of working. But this is a story for another time. But basically, I've made more space in my life, even more than before. I took the decisions to let go of that expectation that I have to do yoga. I was like, okay, I will see if I'm gonna, like, today I feel like I want to. So I'm gonna put it in my schedule. Let's see. And then, I would see if I feel like it. So of course I felt like it, because I didn't feel the pressure. I felt like it's my decision. It's my choice. And then after a while, so I was doing it, and not every day, but I was doing it a bit more, and I didn't do too much. Sometimes I have the tendency to do too much too fast because, I feel like I have to, and I put all of these deadlines and expectations and goals, and of course it's not sustainable, and it's stuffy. It's like suffocating, really. So I decided to just let it go and see it day by day. I'll just do a little bit. And I like this idea of, when you trying to start something new or start a new habit and reinforce, like being more mindful of a new habit or habit anyway. It's great to just start a little bit. Like, okay, I'm just gonna do 5 minutes today, and then I see how it goes, and then actually only doing it 5 minutes, not doing it more. So that you can trust yourself, like, okay, I said I will do 5 minutes, I'm not gonna do more. Because it's so easy to go, to go thinking, I've done 5 minutes, but it was easy, so I should do more. I have to do more. That's, it's another way to fall back into that trap. So like really stick in it to 5 minutes. And then after a while, you can increase and to 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And then later, like when you've seen that you can trust yourself, like you feel more at peace with yourself, you're not like fighting within with all of this I have, then it's easier to spontaneously add more. Because it really comes from you. And then it becomes exactly what I was talking about. It becomes, I get to. So now that I've been doing yoga every day for, I think, 1 month, but without pushing myself, because I've already done this in the past, but I was kind of pushing myself. Like, I have to follow, maybe you're familiar with Adrienne, Yoga with Adrienne. I think I mentioned her a few times. She's a great yoga teacher on YouTube, and I love her videos. And she has this monthly 30 days challenges. And initially I did them out of, it's not obligation, but a little bit like, she recommends to do that, and everybody's following, like so many people are doing this and they say it's great, I should do it as well. I know it's healthy for me, I know it's good for me. And I could do it, but then I could not sustain it. Because I felt like by the end of the 30 days, I felt a bit sick, as if, when you overeat and then you feel stuffed and sick. So I felt a bit like that. But this time I didn't tell myself I have to follow the 30 days challenge. It was more, I'm curious what it would look like to do yoga 30 days. Like, how can I make it work for myself? How can I make it spicy and entertaining for my personality, my energy? And if I miss some days, it's totally okay. I'm fine with that. It doesn't matter because I know I will go back to it. And so that was really helpful. And then there was the last shift was now I feel like every time I'm going to do yoga, it's not easy every day. Sometimes I'm a bit tired, but at the end, I tell myself, I get to spend whatever time, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes for myself on my own, far away from work thoughts, far away from other people's needs. It's just me and myself, taking care of my body. It's a precious time for myself. It's it's nurturing and it's strengthening my body, which is one of the most precious things in my life, because no body, no life, duh. So I'm not saying this to brag, like, look at me, it's easy, I can do yoga every day. Because first, I don't think it should be a goal for everyone or anyone. It doesn't matter. It's just to give you an example of something that I wanted to, but not for the right reasons, and not having an inner dialogue that would support my intention, and shifting that inner dialogue, really. And something else that's really important to precise now is to remain mindful of acknowledging our emotions. Like, bypassing is not helpful. So even though we think, if we manage to do the shift, look, I get to do something new, I get to be single for a while, like I get to spend time on my own and learn to and spend some time to learn more about myself. For example, or I get to discover a new area and meet new people. Still, it can be difficult. So I think it's also very important to think or to say, to acknowledge it and to say it hurts. Like if you've had a breakup or lost your job, something like that, or, any kind of change can be painful. It hurts, but I can choose to use this opportunity to blah, 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 blah. It's painful, yet I can embrace the time it gives me to blah, 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 blah. It's disappointing, but I choose to see it as an opportunity to reflect or pivot, to learn something new, or rest. Sometimes something ending is a great opportunity to rest and actually do nothing. Sometimes that's what we need. And speaking of emotions, I think it's also really important to address the fear of stepping outside our comfort zone when we are creating, when we are doing something new, when we are doing something different. And the thing is, the thing with stepping outside of our comfort zone, sometimes it's so scary that we don't want to do it. We're kind of pushing it away, dreading it, and maybe procrastinating or saying, like pushing it to the last minute. Sometimes we say we want something, but we're not prepared to do the things required for it to work. And sometimes, like exactly as I was saying, sometimes what we rest. Sometimes doing what it takes to achieve the result we want is do nothing or rest. Or I'm thinking about the workaholic amongst us who think that working harder is always the solution, or the people pleaser who think that making sacrifices is the solution. Sometimes saying no, thinking about yourself first, not working, taking a day off is the thing we need, but it can feel so unfamiliar and so uncomfortable that we might feel that it's not the right thing, but we are forced to do it. Like, oh, I have to. But then it's very difficult to do it if we do it that way. And instead, again, shifting, I get to is great. When we're doing something uncomfortable, I think it's so helpful to say, I get to try something new. I get to challenge myself. I get to grow in the process. And when we actually do go for it and do step out of our comfort zone and try, but then it's not working. The results don't always come right away. Or maybe things don't work because they're not supposed to work. It's a chance to redirect, to explore further, to dig deeper within. Just like the example of my website. Like, I did my website. It's not the result I wanted because of the platform provider who is not aligned with me. So I get to change again, and I get to actually really build the website I want, like I truly want. I get to dig deeper. If a project didn't work out, maybe you're an artist and you apply to an exhibition, but you were not accepted. And you feel crushed and disappointed. Like, I totally understand, but maybe it wasn't meant to be. And then maybe after that, there are other opportunities to apply that you could apply to, but you feel disheartened and you're like, oh, I have to apply to more gallery. It's stressful because maybe you don't love to. You're kind of introvert and you don't feel comfortable. But maybe it's a chance for you to learn more about yourself, to excavate your inner extrovert. I'm not saying you should be an extrovert, but there might be an extrovert part buried within you that you don't know. Maybe you're not used to live alone. Maybe you've always been in a relationship and now you're single. And you're like, oh, I have to try to be alone. I have to learn everything by myself. And it's really uncomfortable. But maybe it's a chance for you to really know who you are. Maybe you're a great cook. Maybe you never cooked before. But you're gonna, by exploring and trying and doing it for yourself, you might discover a new talent for cooking. Okay, these are just random examples. But I think you can resonate with that. I think so often we only scratch the surface of our potential, of our true self. We become complacent out of fear, out of shaming ourselves, out of guilting ourselves, out of, the habit of not trusting ourselves and maybe following mindlessly other people's expectations, that we don't really know what we're made of. And it may take time, I think. Even if we try and we do things, it may take a while, because it's normal, it's a process. I hope I get to uncover a new layer till the end of my life. Me personally, I hope I will discover more treasure the more I go on excavating. I like to use the image of the gold rush. You know how they had to dig deeper and dig deep for gold, and in the process they often had to sift mud and shit and dirty stuff, dirt, before they could find gold. I think it's the same with us. If we approach that image and that mindset, I think it's much more encouraging and exciting and energizing to approach new beginnings, transitions, change. Another image comes to mind. What if you were thinking of you and your potential, you and your inner world, as a diamond mine that you have within? How are you going to extract it? By suffering, torturing yourself, suppressing part of yourself in the process, by shooting yourself? By the way, diamond mining is highly unethical. So why do we do that to ourselves? Like diamond mining, like a proper mine. Of course, I'm talking metaphorically. But what if we adopt the diamond lab approach? In that case, there is no unnecessary suffering. What if we approach our mind, our inner world, as a lab where we get to experiment all sorts of things that light us up, that seems interesting, that rings true, that feels like what our heart wants for us to explore and to experience, even if that means stepping out of our comfort zone and doing the difficult things in kindness, as an experiment, without as much pressure, not out of obligation, not out of a need to control an outcome, but rather because we get the chance to. What if unearthing our best selves was happening through consistent creative pursuit, meaning through consistent redirections? When you embrace challenges as opportunities for growth and self-discovery, you're taking back your power. It's not something happening to you, it's something happening for you. I know it's cliché to say that. And I also know that, yes, sure, sometimes it's really painful. And it's okay. Because you can always learn from that situation. Because what happened cannot be changed. The past is the past. What other people do is what other people do. We cannot influence that. We have no impact on that. The only thing we can have impact on is how we decide to take it and what are we going to do next. And sometimes what we're going to do next is to actually seek justice. It may be challenging, it may be uncomfortable, it may be unfamiliar, and yet it can also be a way to fight for a cause that matters to us, to vote for a cause that matters to us, or to choose a path that really matters to us. And maybe it's also a way to speak for those who cannot, for those who don't have the voice, or don't have the chance to speak and be heard. And also sometimes that's you, that's a part of you, your inner child, that is longing to be heard and to be heard by you. So it could be an opportunity for you to get to spend more time with your inner child and to heal so that you can become more wholly you. That's all I have for today, and I hope it resonated with you. I hope it inspired you to explore your inner world and to experiment with your self-talk and your perceptions. See you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if it has inspired you, please share it around you. Also, if you feel called to it, please subscribe to the podcast and leave me a review. It really helps to spread the word out. All your questions are welcome. You can send them to me on Instagram at rim.creativenergy.com or email me via my website rimcreativenergy.com, and don't worry, I'll share in the show notes exactly where to find me. Until next time, sending you loving creative energy.